On May 15th, 2026, Drake did something absolutely unhinged. While the world was expecting Iceman, the album he'd been teasing for months with ice sculptures in Toronto and cryptic live streams, he dropped not one, not two, but 3 full albums at midnight, 43 songs, 2.5 hours of music, all at once. And here's the thing, this wasn't just a flex, this was a statement, because for the first time in his career, Drake, the biggest rapper on the planet, had something to prove. So today we're breaking down what these 3 albums are really saying, why one of the most successful artists in history gets so much hate, and whether this triple drop is the comeback, or the beginning of something else entirely. I'm not saying it's iconic, but allegedly, it might be. Let's start with how we got here, because the Iceman rollout was pure chaos, in the best way possible. In April 2026, a 25-foot ice sculpture appeared in downtown Toronto. Fans attacked it with pickaxes until a streamer named Kishka found a bag inside containing the album title and May 15th release date. Drake reportedly paid him 100,000 Canadian dollars and invited him to his mansion. This is the level of theatrics we're talking about. Ice installations across the city, cryptic YouTube live streams called Iceman Episode 4, courtside seats at Raptors games turned into frozen icicles. The promo cycle lasted nearly 2 years, with hints appearing as early as August 2024, around the 100 Gigs EP drop, and then, an hour before midnight, Drake revealed the twist. He wasn't dropping 1 album, he was dropping 3, Iceman, Habibti, Maid of Honour. Together, they total 43 tracks, with features from Future, 21 Savage, Molly Santana, Sexy Red, Central C, Party Next Door, Popcan, and more. The rollout even included visual counterparts for every song premiered during the live stream. But here's what makes this different from any other Drake album drop: timing. These are his first solo releases since 2023's For All the Dogs, and more importantly, since his highly publicized 2024 beef with Kendrick Lamar, which brings us to the albums themselves and what Drake is actually trying to say. So let's break down what each album represents, because they're not just random collections of songs, they're 3 different emotional states. Iceman is bar-heavy introspection with Drake examining all aspects of life. The main rap-focused project where he sounds inspired and recharged. This is War Mode Drake. 18 tracks of him addressing everything that went down in 2024. On the opening track, Make Them Cry, Drake gets vulnerable about what the Kendrick beef cost him. He talks about how a part of him died in 2024 addressing his father's cancer, feelings of betrayal, and label battles. For the first time in years, there's a sense of urgency from Drake, likely tied to the Kendrick clash and hip-hop turning on him after over a decade of dominance. And yes, he comes with smoke. Drake disses Kendrick Lamar, DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, LeBron James, and J. Cole across tracks like Make Them Pay, Make Them Remember, and Burning Bridges. He references the Big 3 debate that started this whole mess, mocks Kendrick's height, and addresses everyone who he felt played both sides during the beef. This is Drake at his most focused. No pop crossovers, no trying to please everyone, just bars. Maid of Honour shifts into lighter territory, with 14 tracks embracing party records, melodic production, and dance-oriented collaborations. This is Club Drake, TikTok Drake, the Drake that makes songs that DJs will chop up and stretch for maximum dance floor impact. The album was influenced by the success of Nokia, Drake's breakthrough into actual club-obsessive music. Tracks like Ho Phase, Road Trips, Which One with Central C, and Cheetah Print with Sexy Red lean into playful energy rather than the tension of Iceman. The cover art is significant here. It shows his mother, Sandy Graham, with a faint overlay of baby Drake being carried by his father, Dennis Graham. It's like Drake saying, I can still have fun, I can still make music for the ladies. This beef doesn't define everything I am. The shortest project at 11 tracks, Habibti arrives with a smoother, internationally influenced sound palette, moody production, melodic hooks, and darker late-night atmosphere. Habibti is Arabic for my love or my darling, and this album is Drake in his feelings. The cover shows an unnamed woman with tape covering her face except for the eyes. A powerful visual about silence, secrets, or maybe the women whose stories get told through Drake's perspective. With features from Party Next Door, Sexy Red, and Low Shimmy, this is the introspective R&B side, relationship tension, vulnerability, late night thoughts. It's the Drake that got him famous in the first place. Here's the uncomfortable question. How is one of the most successful artists of all time also one of the most criticized? Let's be real about this. Drake attracts heavy criticism because his career combines enormous commercial success, intense cultural visibility, and recurring patterns that invite scrutiny. First, he doesn't fit the traditional hip-hop mold. Drake blew up in the aftermath of gangsta rap ruling the airways, where being tough was the rite of passage. He was softer, made delicate songs for women, didn't have a street background, and got teased for being light-skinned, Jewish, and acting on Degrassi. Second, he's accused of being a culture vulture. Drake adopts accents, hops on regional sounds, and collaborates with artists from different scenes, which some see as appreciation and others see as appropriation without credit. Third, the dominance itself breeds resentment. He's the third most streamed artist in Spotify history, with 14 #1 albums on the Billboard 200. When you're that big, everything you do gets scrutinized, every move is dissected, every misstep is magnified. Fourth, he makes it personal. Drake is boastful and narcissistic, using his success as ammunition. If his lyrics were spoken in normal conversation, most people would respond with, "Who do you think you are?" But here's what gets lost in all the criticism. Drake changed the game. He proved you don't have to be one thing. You can rap, sing, make club records, and get in your feelings, all in the same career. He opened doors for artists who didn't fit the traditional mold. And then came the Kendrick beef. The 2024 battle started with Kendrick's verse on Like That, and escalated through diss tracks, culminating with Not Like A, which called Drake a certified pedophile, won Record and Song of the Year at the 2025 Grammys, and was performed at the Super Bowl halftime show. Music journalist Peter A. Barry said it plainly. The loss that Drake took to Kendrick Lamar on a national and global stage is probably the biggest loss any rapper has ever taken in a big rap conflict. Drake even sued Universal Music Group over the track. A federal judge dismissed the defamation suit, ruling that the accusations were part of a war of words in a heated rap battle that wouldn't lead reasonable listeners to believe they were factual statements. So these 3 albums, they're his response, not just to Kendrick, but to everyone who counted him out. Here's the thing about Drake dropping 43 songs at once. It's either genius or insane, maybe both, because on one hand, this is a power move. If all 3 albums chart in the top 3 next week, Drake could tie or break Jay-Z's record for most #1 rap albums, and he'd be the first artist since Michael Jackson to occupy the top 3 of the Billboard 200 simultaneously. But on the other hand, can you really digest 43 songs? Does quantity replace quality? Is this Drake trying to overwhelm critics with sheer volume because he knows the individual reception might be mixed? Music journalist Shreya Krishnamurthy said, "Reputation, culture, these are things that cannot be quantified. Maybe he does spectacular commercially, and that is great, but that doesn't mean that the music is good or has any lasting impact." And that's the real question, isn't it? Drake has already won commercially. He's already the biggest, but after the Kendrick loss, after the lawsuits, after hip-hop seemingly turned on him, can he win back something more valuable than streams? Can he win back respect? Because Iceman, Habibti, and Maid of Honour aren't just albums, they're an argument. They're Drake saying, I'm still here, I'm still relevant, I'm still that guy. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't ignore 43 songs dropping at midnight, and maybe that's the whole point. So here's what I want to know. When an artist drops 3 albums at once after the biggest public loss of their career, is that confidence or desperation? Is Drake celebrating his return, or is he trying to prove something that can't be proven with numbers alone? And maybe most importantly, if you can't separate the artist from the controversy, the music from the beef, the legacy from the loss, does any of it actually matter? So did we just get 3 classic albums from Drake? We're not saying yes, but allegedly we might have. See you on the next one.